Everyone, I am Valentina Perdomo. The purpose of this video is that I want to animate you to read the novel called The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This video will develop the application of the triad approach based on three basic frames. The analysis contains the contextual framework, the semantic framework that means a brief meta reading of the text, a linguistic framework that I will develop some triggers of speech, and finally I am going to do a conclusion and a further discussion. The contextual framework. Oscar Wilde was an Irish author, playwright, and poet. After writing in different forms throughout the 1880s, he became one of London's most popular playwrights in the early 1890s. Today he is remembered for his epigrams, his novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, his plays, as well as the circumstances of his imprisonment and early death. Oscar Wilde is a representative of aestheticism. The philosophical foundation of aestheticism were formulated in the 18th century by Immanuel Kant, who spoke for the autonomy of art. Oscar Wilde was a dramatic leader in promoting the movement near the end of the 19th century. Wilde was especially influenced as a college student by the works of the English poet and critic Charles and the American writer Edgar Allan Poe. Walter Pater helped to work to form Wilde's humanistic aesthetics, in which he was more concerned with the individual, with the self, than with popular movements like industrialism or capitalism. Hedonism is a school of thought that plays an essential role in the picture of Dorian Gray. This theory is first introduced in chapter 2 with Lord Henry describing a hedonistic lifestyle to Dorian and explaining how in society it is best to do whatever is self-beneficial. Lord Henry lures Dorian into believing that morality plays no role in life and one should always do what is beneficial to himself, regardless of the means to accomplish this or any other consequences, while also incorporates psychoanalytic criticism into his novels. Oscar Wilde was an author, playwright, and poet, but he developed various literary genres like poetry in his first work, Ravenna, 1878, stories such as The Crime of Lord Arthur Savile, 1887, essays such as Political, The Soul of Man Under Socialism, or The Literary Decay of Life, 1889, and only novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1891. The historical context. Oscar Wilde was an Irish writer and poet. His only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, was written during the Victorian era of England. The principles in this novel, however, were radical to the time period, and the novel was deemed scandalous and immoral. England was in with the Victorian era, which was characterized with sexual restraint, a strict code of conduct, and a low tolerance for crime. While only novel contained all of the opposing morals of Victorian England. He later decided to edit the novel, adding 6 chapters and a preface. The preface composed of epigrams or witty sayings show in detail the aesthetic philosophy of Wilde. Aestheticism is a philosophy of art relating to the beauty of a piece. During the Victorian era, it was believed that art should have sociopolitical values or meaning. The religious context. While was officially an Anglican for the vast majority of his life, he had a lifelong interest and respect for the Catholic religion and converted to Catholicism on his deathbed. Political context. Oscar Wilde was a socialist, an anarchist, an aesthetic, and a gay man in Victorian England. Semantic framework. It is the second time that I read The Picture of Dorian Gray. The first time I read, I was in 10th grade. This time I read the novel I found more interesting than the first time. When I started reading the novel, I realized that the themes developed Oscar Wilde are the same as they are today in our society. We are in an age where the media are attacking us with extremely thin prefaces and values. In his masterpiece, Oscar Wilde presents the notion of good and evil and the two interpretation of human experience, being optimistic and emotional at one end and pessimistic and intellectual at the other. The book discusses the tragic downfall of the incredibly handsome and beautiful Dorian Gray, which happens to be caused by the negative influence of his friends Lord Henry. Dorian's change destroys the people around him and leads to his horrifying death by the end of the book. Hadel Quota 2014. Oscar Wilde in his novel developed some different figures of speech such as simile, aposiopesis, personification, anastrophe, apostrophe, anaphora, and alliteration. Speaking of language, Wilde's prose is beautifully decorated with figurative language. His language is marked with a sense of humor at times. Oscar Wilde uses sensuous, ornate, artistic, and dreamy language to captivate his reader. The themes developed in his masterpiece are beauty, vanity, hypocrisy, passion, human life, and the influence of friends. Wilde fills his novel with connotation and denotation. An example of connotation would be the words home and house, and an example of denotation would be the words beautiful and pretty. The linguistic framework. The picture of Dorian Gray has an omniscient third person narration. Is set in the London of the late 19th century and has in its main foundation a moral comment on the consequences of a licentious behavior, with the main character being shown attracted to feces. Um, Figures of speech. My fame, whatever it may be worth, Dorian Gray's good looks. Chapter 1. This is an aposiopesis. Her hair clustered round her face like dark leaves from a pale rose. Chapter 6. It is a simile. In black, fantastic shapes, damp shadows crawled into the corners of the room and crouched there. Chapter 11. It is a personification because shadows endowed with human abilities such as crawling and crouching. He was lying, smoking as usual, innumerable cigarettes. Chapter 1. This is an apostrophe because the author changed the normal order of words. I am in Lady Agatha's Black Book at present. Chapter 2. It is apostrophe. It is not merely that I paint from him draw from him, sketch from him. This is an anaphora because here is a repetition of the word from. I want to place her on a pedestal of gold and to see the world worship the woman who is mine. It is alliteration. Oscar Wilde in the picture of Dorian Gray uses British English. Uh, all in all, the picture of Dorian Gray is a wonderfully crafted masterpiece, a property of Oscar Wilde and an encyclopedia open to all humankind. It is a piece of art intended to contemplate on and even learn from, to learn about the truth of life and human nature. The book is a tragedy, a drama, a moral code, a manual, an allegory, a satire, and last but not least, a horror. Wise character design and beautiful figurative language are what make the book a masterpiece, a great one indeed. I hope you read this fantastic novel and can enrich your knowledge and can do other types of analysis. I also hope that this analysis be of great help to be able to make a better analysis. Have a good night, good riches. Bye.